happiest of Fridays, and welcome to another edition of 5 Horror Movie Fun Facts starring me. I don't know where I was going with that. Moving on. Today's movie is a super controversial movie. Like, it is so controversial that you're going to need to be prepared for me to use a lot of alternative TikTok language to even talk about it. That being said, please be advised of the following trigger warnings for this movie. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Today's movie, I Spit on Your Grave, 1978. And I really have to say the year this time because there are like 4 or 5 sequels to this movie. Anyway, fun fact number 1. Director Meyer Sarchi was inspired to make this movie after an incident that he experienced. The story goes, one night he was driving through the country with a friend when they spotted a young woman who had been essayed and beaten pretty brutally. He ended up taking her to the police, where the police were not helpful at all. In fact, Sarchi described this officer that interrogated her as not being fit to wear the uniform. I mean, apparently he was pretty brutal on her. The poor thing had her jaw broken and could barely talk, and they were insisting on her answering questions in her state. Sarchi eventually insisted upon taking the girl to the hospital because, well, it's the decent thing to do. Later, he found out the story was she was taking a shortcut to her boyfriend's house when she was attacked. The girl's father sent him a letter thanking him and also a reward money payout, which Sarchi reportedly declined. Fun fact number 2. So, the one thing that this film is known for is the fact that it features the longest essay scene in movie history. And if you've ever seen it, it is brutal to watch. It lasts for about 25 minutes. It truly is awful. And you would think that because of the essay scene, that's why this movie was deemed so controversial. The weird thing is that you'd be wrong. So Siskel and Ebert famously panned this movie, Ebert calling it the worst movie that he had ever seen. And one of the reasons why he called it that was that when he saw it in the theater, he was disgusted by the crowd's reaction. You see, this is a story about a woman who is brutally essayed and she takes revenge on her assailants, right? Well, the part of the movie where she starts picking them off one by one, the crowd largely did not like that and made quite a few disparaging remarks about the ways in which she was taking her assailants out, which is pretty despicable when you think about it, especially if you've seen the movie. Like, the worst part of the movie really is that 25-minute essay scene, 100%. So, moving on. Fun fact number 3. So given the subject matter of this film, a lot of care was actually taken to preserve Camille Keaton's well-being during the filming of this movie. Like, during one of the scenes in particular, where she's essayed against the rock, Sarchi had originally wanted her to just fall over at the end. She didn't get the memo about that, though, and they got into it, and she ended up storming off set because they were going to have to shoot it over. Now, she told him that she would not return unless he demonstrated first. I guess it's her way of saying, look, this scene was terrible and exhausting, and I ain't doing it if you ain't gonna do it. And so he did, and he went the extra step of taking all of his clothes off before demonstrating it. It should also be noted that all of the male actors agreed to be nude for, as much time as she was nude, if not more, so that she would feel comfortable on set. Fun fact number 4. So the scene where Camille Keaton takes out, I think it's Stanley with the propeller on the motorboat, that was done practically. Of course, they couldn't really use a real engine, obviously. So they took the engine out and they had her mime pulling the cord while somebody blew bubbles of blood through air in a tube out into the water, which really kind of makes me wonder how often was the blowing blood through a tube thing happening in horror movies. I feel like I have at least talked about it no less than 4 times while doing this series. Finally, fun fact number 5. Okay, so for the death of this character, Matthew, the the hanging scene. When it was filmed, Richard Pace started to convulse while he was hanging there. And the director, Sarchi, really thought that, oh, well, this is just great acting. It wasn't, as it turns out, as apparently Richard Pace had a crippling fear of heights. So, yeah, he was having a panic attack, which is really bad. Here's a bonus fun fact. The model on the cover of I Spit in Your Grave was someone that you all know and love. When I say cover, I mean this cover. That tuchus actually belonged to Demi Moore. Not kidding. She actually was the model for the cover of I Spit on Your Grave. Basically, in her memoir, she talks about how producer Charles Band had bought the video distribution rights for this movie back in 1981. And when they redesigned the poster, they decided that Camille Keaton's figure was too thin. They wanted someone a little more voluptuous. Now, at the time, he was also producing a sci-fi film called Parasite that happened to have Demi Moore in it. And Demi Moore had done some nude modeling in the past. So that's how she got the job. And that's it for this week's 5 Fun Horror Movie Facts. Join me again for another one. Bye.